Thank you, Francesco, and welcome to the presentation of the Dutch cluster. My name is Jasper Donker. I'm working as a research scientist at TNO at the Department of Strategy and Policy. And TNO is the largest independent research institute in the Netherlands, approximately 3,000 employees working on all different themes like industry and defense, but also on urbanization and energy, and I'm working on those last two topics. Within the upcoming 30 minutes, we will discuss with you some highlights and insights of what we have been done in the Vostrecht project, but also sketch a little bit the Dutch situation on urban regeneration and energy efficiency. And I will start with that. So a little bit about the Dutch situation, the strategies that we have developed within Vostrecht, and also about our biggest capacity building actions, and that was the Green Deal. And then Marion will take over about the Utrecht energy plan and will continue on one specific strategy on gas-free districts. So if we look to the Dutch situation and we see which kind of policies and goals and ambitions are really shaping the context of urban regeneration and energy efficiency in the Netherlands. At first we have the National Energy Agreement we have in the Netherlands, and that has been an agreement that has been signed in 2013 by many different parties, including government, business and civic society organizations, and there were clear targets on the energy reduction and efficiency, but also on the share of renewable energy sources. However, then in 2015, of course, we had the COP of Paris, and that actually resulted in the Netherlands in a discussion if we not should look further than only 2023, but also look behind that and see how we really could achieve a low-carbon energy supply system. And that resulted that in the end of 2016, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, who's dealing mostly with energy, published an energy agenda in which they shape the decisions and the choices that need to be made to really get a low-carbon energy system in 2050. And interesting, there were four transition paths, and the most important transition path for Vostrecht was the transition path of the heating of the houses in the Netherlands. And two important things were mentioned. At first, natural gas, which is now responsible for a large part of our heating. We need a sharp reduction of natural gas use for heating our houses. And the second part was that the municipalities will play a crucial role in taking those decisions and steps to find alternatives for this heating on the local level. And the last part is that we just had elections in the Netherlands, and yeah, now the formation on the coalitions are taking place, and during the election time, energy and climate was not really a topic. It went more about immigration. But now, during the formation, energy and climate is really a big topic. So, yeah, really curious what will bring that us. So, shortly, if we look to the multi-level on ambition and goals in the Netherlands, I already mentioned some European, even worldwide ambitions, national ambitions. But we also see that most regions and provinces in the Netherlands have goals and ambitions on energy within the built environment. So, for example, the province of Utrecht. But we also see that with most cities and larger municipalities all have goals also on energy within the built environment. For example, here are the goals of the city of Utrecht, and Marion will later tell you more about it. And you see that the ambition of the city of Utrecht is even higher than the ambition that we have on the national level. So at this moment, there is no really an alignment yet between all those goals and ambitions in the Netherlands. So we don't know if all the local ambitions and goals add up to the national level, or that the national level, what that requires on the local level. Maybe you're thinking, but how about urban regeneration and spatial planning? We don't have any policies on that. We have a really rich history on policies on that because of our lack of space in general in the Netherlands. So, but currently, actually, the national government has decided to not longer execute or have programs on the national level on that, but bring it down to the more local and decentralized level, because there are the people that are resulted by the decision that are taken. And it actually resulted that urban regeneration and spatial planning is not really a policy topic on, let's say, national level that gets so much attention. But of course, on the local level, we still have all our instruments on that. But enough about policy. Let's look at the physical part of the challenge. This is, if you look at the Netherlands, you will mostly see this. So in the built environment, of course, you see that 4 out of 7 million houses in the Netherlands are terraced houses. So 10 out of 70 million people live in those terraced houses. And if we look to the owner structure of those houses, you see that quite a large share is, of course, owner-occupied, but also quite a large share is from social housing associations. And that provides, of course, huge benefits regarding synergies, replication level, but also economies of scale for solutions for our energy efficiency. And if you look to the numbers in the Netherlands, for example, how the energy efficiency of those dwellings, you see definitely an improvement from 2000 to 2012. So that looks quite good. However, if we look to so those are the numbers of the energy labels of 2016, and we match that with, for example, the ambitions of the municipality of Utrecht, then we see that the challenge is still huge. So a huge challenge on still renovating houses within the Netherlands. And regarding of the ambitions of Utrecht, we only have 13 years left. So what are then the drivers and barriers for that? So during Vostrecht and also, of course, in previous project, we did really research on those drivers and barriers, and I don't go into them all. I only point a few who are mostly typical for the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands, we have a relatively high mortgage debt, people, sometimes even more than the property value during the financial crisis. And that gives really limited possibilities for homeowners to really finance or invest in their houses if they want to. On the other side, we saw that we have about 190 different financial mechanisms on all various levels in the Netherlands, and also some national funds. However, mostly those national policies and funds, they are not really that durable. So we have, for example, some budgets, and when they are reached, and mostly that can be, for example, in a year or something, then it's shut down. So it's not really a durable or consistent stimulating measures. And of course, but I think that's in most other countries as well, the costs for example, zero energy renovations are still high, and therefore out of scope for most owners. Shortly looking for, so those are more financial, and if we look to the supply and demand, you see that although Philip mostly presented this morning, of course, the Energiesprong, who provide all-in-one solution, but you see regarding private homeowners, we don't have all-in-one solution. So you will have a separate person that comes for your insulation and somebody else for your PV panels, etc., etc. So there's no target-made all-in-one solution where you can choose from as a private homeowner. You see as well, because we are structured, we have a large part of social housing corporations and the possibilities for economies of scale. You see that large building companies are really focused on business to business, but are not used to relate to business to consumers or to private homeowners. So no concept products have been developed for them. And lately, of course, we also have to deal that the sense of urgency for individual households or owners is quite low because probably the energy bill is acceptable, but there are a lot of other reasons. So, short conclusion, we have goals and ambitions on all levels. We have a building stock that definitely provides possibilities. Good steps have been made, but we still have a big challenge. And we identified various barriers and drivers. So that was the start when we went into the collaborative analysis approach with all kind of stakeholders from the regional, local level and national level, from government and from business and civic societies. And within a couple of workshops, we identified those barriers. We generated a large set of solutions for those barriers. And we formulated strategies, so bundling a couple of solutions and see who should take action, where they should take action, and at what time. Therefore, we developed 3 different strategies: refurbishment by ESCO, so refurbishment energy service companies that would take over the refurbishment of private homeowners. We looked upon a strategy that is more about the customer-oriented approach, so really on the needs and things that customers want. And the last one was natural gas-free districts, so existing districts, how we can get rid of the gas for the heating of those districts. And at the moment that we were further developing those strategies, we saw that at various locations within the Netherlands, and also because it was mentioned in the energy agenda, what I mentioned at first, was popping up this topic of natural gas-free districts. And that resulted that we have signed a Green Deal on gas-free districts, and that was signed by the Ministry of Economic Affairs, 30 municipalities, grid operators, and also a lot of other parties. And of course, the municipality of Utrecht played an important role, and we from TNO signed the deal as well as part of Overberg. And important things that we have done for Overberg in that Green Deal. Sorry, I'll just explain maybe a little bit of what is actually a Green Deal. So, a Green Deal is a mechanism for the government to provide space for new initiatives in society for the transition to a sustainable economy. So that can not only be in energy efficiency, but also in mobility. So we have on a really large themes, we have Green Deals. And the goal of it is to remove and identify barriers, and also to intend and to inspire people to work on this topic. However, within this Green Deal, and I think that's mainly the work of Overberg, we said we need to have a knowledge sharing program, because all of the 30 municipalities not only signed the deal, but also included a pilot project. So in a district in which they are going to experiment to get the gas infrastructure out and find an alternative solution. And all of those municipalities will probably have their own local situation, but will face similar challenges, have similar questions. So it's really important to share experiences and knowledge between those municipalities. And therefore we have said from Overberg, we really need to have a knowledge sharing program. Because it requires this new role also for municipalities, requires a lot of public capacity. And that's exactly what we are doing here in Overberg, what the goal was of Overberg. So we organized some knowledge sharing events as part of this Green Deal, in which we did this knowledge exchange between various governments, and I won't go into those in detail, but you can find them in our report. But I think the main goal is that we were able to embed some challenges and elements of Overberg in something that will continue. And in that, after Overberg is ended. And in that way, we are able that we will continue working on fostering public capacity on this topic. So that's my part. And now Marion will continue and tell you more about what we have done in the municipality of Utrecht.
Yes. So let me begin to tell you a story about the Netherlands. So in the year 1730, nearby Amsterdam, there was the biggest industry at Europe at the time. There were more than 2,000 windmills, grinding corn, sawing wood, and making oil from nuts. And it was all powered by the wind. But industries comes and goes, and almost 200 years later, we discovered a large gas bubble in the north of our country, and the government decided to connect all of the people in Holland, to connect to the fossil gas infrastructure. And the Netherlands is now the largest gas-producing country in Europe. And if I believe Eurocities, it will be a short time, because we are transferring to another gas industry district. And there are more than 250 gas fields on land in the North Sea. So I can say we love gas. Every year we have a total consumption of 250 billion cubic meters. 50% of that is used for housing and small businesses, and 96% of our houses is connected to fossil gas infrastructure. So you can truly say we are addicted to gas. And this is what we do with our windmills today. But today, we also look at the future, and fossil gas does not longer fit our ambition to be climate neutral in 2030. And therefore, we are the leading party in the Green Deal of fossil-free districts. But where to begin? We actually don't know, but we do know that we can't do this alone. By learning by doing, and doing it together, is our main philosophy in this transition path. So for our example of doing it together, in 2050 we randomly chosen 165 residents of Utrecht, and they participated in a large-scale debate. It took 3 Saturdays. And they debated not only on our ambition to be climate neutral, but they debated also on how to achieve those goals. And one of the main outcomes of those 3 days was not only an energy plan, but it was also that they said, get rid of fossil gas. So we are working in a new system with new rules to explore. And so we joined action with parties involved and created new coalitions. And the national coalition we explore, it was said earlier, the Green Deal, we explore new regulations and new laws, and we are talking about how we finance this transition. We have a climate agreement, but investments that are needed are unprofitable, and the benefits does not always end up with the investors. Only for the city of Utrecht, we have an average of 8 billion euros that is needed for this transition. This shows the investment needed on the parties involved, and we need public funding. And we also want to have the same discussion with the European parties, so maybe we can talk later. And Utrecht is supporting this national coalition. Thanks to the stakeholder mapping, we had a good view of the network, and Utrecht has been a big role in the knowledge management. So I thank you all for doing a great job on that. And we have also created a new local coalition. These parties, they can't decide on their own. We have to decide together. There will be no big rollout of the gas infrastructure, but we look for alternatives fitted to the local situation, and we decide together where to start, and we do it based on data. We are very data-driven, and hopefully we are using the data well. So we generate the data and ask ourselves a lot of questions. So where are the gas pipes at the end of their economical lives? And where is the renovating of the houses in the upcoming years? Of what kind of installations there we use currently, and is it a good alternative? And we started analyzing those data and getting the characteristics of the area in order. And now, last but not least, who lives in those houses? And can we look for a natural moment of change? And this takes time, and it takes trust of both parties, because you have to share your data, and you talk about each other's opportunities and obstacles. And it was mentioned before, Energiesprong. This is the first high-rise family house, all electric. And we call it a house with a future. And we are still learning from this experiment. And I will show you today's news. And this is our latest high-rise building. It's not only with solar panels, but on the rooftop it will have a windmill to regain energy. And we hope to achieve much more of these buildings this year. So, and my story that I'm telling you here, and thanks to Utrecht, we were able to this roadmap on an infographic, and it will be in the next couple of weeks. It will be on the website, and this shows the topics that I was mentioned in my presentation. So, the Netherlands went from windmills to gas infrastructure back to windmills. So in Utrecht, we need 8 billion euros to get rid of our gas. So maybe, just maybe, there is something to learn about the story of the Netherlands. Thank you.